Only 100,000 people. Those 100,000 people may be different in many ways, but there's one thing that brings them all together. The Green Bay Packers. In Titletown, the blue-collar city only knows hard work, tailgating, championships, but more importantly, they know family.
We have a saying in this town: faith, family, and the Green Bay Packers are all that you need. Sanjay and I grew up in Green Bay. You could say that we are Green Bay, or even better, the voices of Green Bay. We bring a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience.
Friendship, family, and football.
Ladies and gentlemen,
This is the Freezer Podcast. What is up? We are back. This is the Freezer Podcast, where we bring you a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience. And alongside me, like always, is Fred and Matt. And we are live here in our home studios, brought to you by Game On Wisconsin and brought to you by Sweep Studios. And boys, it's a Victory Monday, even though it's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I know. It feels weird. We should be Mondays. It's a Victory Tuesday in a somewhat shocking events on Sunday that probably a lot of you probably didn't think was going to happen, but the Green Bay Packers beat the Dallas Cowboys once again. It feels like maybe we just need to always play the Cowboys and things will get back, you know? So,
Yes, sir.
and we didn't know if we were going to see this video ever again, but we are. We are seeing
Still
it.
as badass as ever.
Yeah, it is still badass, especially with the hair, like, you know,
Yeah.
John Wick. But before we get started, boys, hope all is well. I just want to say we have a little bit breaking news as far as, you know, roster stuff. So we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll talk about the game and our feelings. Amari Rodgers cut. Kylan Hill cut. TD Westbrook signed. So interesting little development in the last 24 hours. I think everybody and their mother probably figured that Amari Rodgers would get some sort of axe. And obviously, as the receiving core all stated in their pressers today, it's really a progress and results kind of league, which that is very true. And the guy just didn't produce. And it just sucks that it's another one of Gutekunst's draft picks, and it happens to be a third rounder that didn't pan out. The Kylan Hill one is a little bit interesting too. From what Matt and I kind of talked about, it was kind of maybe a little bit of a disciplinary thing where maybe he just wasn't putting the effort behind, you know, closed doors. But Fred, your thoughts, Amari? I know it's tough to see the kid continue to fumble, but, you know, in the end, it's been bothering us for years now. We haven't seen any progress. So go ahead, Fred. Yeah.
Hit the road, bud. Hit the road, bud. Hit the road, bud. Listen, he seemed like a really exciting pick, right, when we got him, right? Coming out of Clemson, kind of had that Debo-ish type feel. This was pre-Debo, really, kind of almost. But we were excited about this. Like, there's this guy, right? There's this guy who can run, he can catch, he can do all these things. It fits into that, like, Shanahan, LaFleur offense. I had super high hopes for him. They throw him back as kick returner, punt returner. Good start, right? You know, young guy, throw him back there, and he just can't make it happen, right? I think the stat, which came out after his last fumble, was 8 catches, 7 fumbles, I believe, on his career. That's unexcusable, and those aren't even. I mean, it's absolutely bizarre. We've lost a few games because of it, right? You can always go back and say, hey, there's a lot of different problems here. You know, defense in play, offense in play, but there was a few fumbles that he had that kind of were the catalyst of our implosion, right, for some of these games. And I'm not going to put it all on him because it's not fair, but you got to start to wonder at what point. I mean, let's be real, it went way too long, right? The guy should have got just, at least not cut, but maybe just pulled off of that spot, and something else should have happened there, because the continuous, you know, fumbles, the continuous lack of judgment, the continuous bad plays was terrible. It came down to the coaching staff. But basically, I saw the news today, and I like, this is it. I just wanted to jump and
I think,
so excited. So excited.
75% of Green Bay Nation was.
The Kylan Hill thing goes to the side, but you know what? I wish him all the best. Like we kind of, I tweeted out, and I hope he gets a new start. Sometimes guys just need it, right? I think he dropped that first one, and some people can't get over that hump. We saw C. Watts get over that hump. I don't think Amari could do it. A new atmosphere, new coaching staff, new situation might be the best for him.
Yeah, I agree with you, Fred. I echo all those same sentiments. I'm disappointed about both because of what they both kind of represented. I thought Amari Rodgers was going to be this kind of lead this new patch of receivers coming into Green Bay. He was going to be the next Randall Cobb. Odd enough, he's going to get cut so they can bring Randall Cobb back onto the active roster from IR. And then Kylan Hill, I saw there was a question in the chat, but yeah, he got cut. Sounds like it was because of non-football related things. LaFleur said it in his presser today. So I had my head scratched on that one too until I heard that. So it made some more sense. So maybe we'll find more about that in the future. But disappointing on both fronts. I hope they both land on their feet, particularly Amari. I mean, I still kind of feel like he didn't get a total fair shake at wide receiver. It's like, I know you got to earn it and you got to get on the field, but it's like for a 3rd round pick, I thought maybe they could have just excused him and put him in the game just to see. But in the end, they're the ones making the calls.
That was what I want.
Enough to move on from.
Well, why not even like a Swerve Irvin thing, right? Like Swerve Irvin came in and he was basically like a glorified motion guy. I mean, why couldn't you have Amari just be a guy that, you ran him around a few times every once in a while, you gave him the jet sweep.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Like why not do something like that?
So you made a tweet and it was kind of ironic that he gets cut. Amari, Randall Cobb gets, activated. The whole reason you bought or got Amari Rodgers was to be the successor of Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb 2.0, yeah.
To Fred and your point of using him more, like why was it Randall Cobb getting I get it. It's Aaron's guy, but he was getting the snaps. And I get it. If you're not producing in practice, you're not going to get the snaps, in game. But at the same time, the times that he did get in the game, he was making catches. Like some of the throws I thought were a little bit unfair. That one diver that he had in, I think, week 2 against the Bears.
He gave it a go. Yeah.
I mean, I did think he had actual, flashes of, wide receiver ability. And he could run over people too. And I remember in the preseason game as a running back, I mean, he showed flashes too. And like you said, Swerve Irvin kind of role. Maybe give him some jet sweeps. You clearly love giving Christian Watson jet sweeps. Why can't you do it with him? Again, it's in the past. Hopefully he can, pick up his, pick up his feet and get on a squad. And hopefully I saw someone tweeted that he'll probably be in Kyle Shanahan's offense and he's going to probably destroy us in the playoffs.
Probably watch him.
Exactly.
It could have just been a situation where it just everything bad storm, right? Like everything was just not working out. Some confidence issues. He wasn't fitting the schemes. He wasn't. There's always way more to it than what we're looking at, right? We're looking at it from our like little ivory tower. We're like, well, he should have been better. It's like, well, there could have been a lot more to it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I feel like that's right though, Fred. Like it's like why not let him out there and let him show? I don't think they drafted him to be a punt returner, a kick returner. No. And it almost felt like they killed his confidence by continuing to put him out there at returner, and he failed over and over again. It's like obviously that's not what he's here and is going to do for us. So let's try to find something else. They never did. So the rest is history, as they say.
The rest is history.
We can move on. I mean, obviously, we saw the issues and they've obviously addressed it maybe a little too long than we probably have hoped, but they finally
listen. I know that I speak for myself and I probably speak for everybody that listens to the show and the two people that I'm talking to right now, that it's going to be a hell of a relief not seeing number 8 back there every time they kick the ball. So
I was always clenching my butt, man. I'm always thinking catch. I mean, how many times has everybody in this chat saying, just don't drop the ball, just don't drop the ball, just don't, or fair catch, whatever it is. Like it's bad. Like I feel like in the last 10 years, we've been saying that about these guys. Like who's ever back there.
Yeah, but he was really he was the
bad, worst.
Right?
Yes,
like, he was absolute worst. And I think, again, not to go back to putting full blame on him, but my gosh, there was a few games that his fumbles, you saw it, right? Everybody saw it. Massively different team. The second, I mean, and this team is notorious for that, right? Getting punched in the face. A lot of times they punch themselves in the face. And just not coming back, right? I mean, we've seen it with like Mercedes Lewis fumble, things like that. And a few of them, I mean, this Dallas game was really freaking close to doing that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Outside of, C. Watts coming out and being the stud I so called him to be. But I'm okay with that. And I'm more than happy to eat crow on this show and everyone on Twitter because I was wrong, but yeah, I mean, it's time for him to go. He hopefully gets another opportunity, and I'm sure he's going to do decent things. He seems like a really good kid, a smart kid, and comes from a good football family. So he'll probably be like a 3 on a lot of teams for the next 10 years.
Well, let's move on to that guy that we didn't really think was going to make it. What a lot of people maybe called a bust, injury prone. Yeah, I saw this picture with the Randy Moss resemblance too against Dallas. I saw the little Twitter picture that came up today. I just want to real quick say this, and then you guys can kind of take over. And it is nice to finally. I mean, obviously, this kid has speed. You know, that is his trademark. That is what he's gonna probably build a career based on. You know what he can do with those legs, and if he can just take a hit and not get hurt afterwards, that would be, it's gonna keep him in the league longer, right? And I will say, if there's one little critique that I would say, even on a great night for the guy, I would like to see him still learn how to catch with his hands. It seemed like he was catching with his chest, and I'm still a little worried about that because
I double down on that, baby.
Yeah, I get a little scared about that.
A couple of those catches were pretty close to not being catches again.
So obviously, huge night for him. I mean, it's a confidence booster. It's a confidence booster for Aaron Rodgers to trust him and know that, hey, maybe if we just give this kid a chance to sling it, on like a deep go route, maybe he'll beat his guy. And I think 90% of the time he's probably going to get, beat the guy that's in front of him. So your guys' thoughts on Christian Watson? Go ahead, Matt.
I mean, it was great to see, and it kind of makes you wonder, if this wasn't delayed a few weeks, because you've heard, Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur a few times say, well, we had a bunch of shit in the game plan, but we just couldn't do it because he got knocked out in the first series twice in those 2 games. But it also coincided with what I thought was the Packers finally committing to the offense. I think we've all sort of begging them to run, which is just handing the ball off and bludgeoning you to death with the run game. I think Rodgers only ended up with like 20 attempts. So that's what you want to see. And then when he does throw the ball, it's impactful. It's to guys that are getting open because they've sucked the safety down due to their play calling. So, to me, it was very encouraging to see it all kind of come together. And it kind of gives you a glimpse of maybe what this offense can do when it's firing on all cylinders. Not to say that they were, but I think there was a few drives there where it certainly made you feel that way. But I just feel really good for him. That touchdown was right at me. I mean, from the second he took off at the line, saw him beat his defender, and I saw that ball arc and just held my breath for him. And once he caught it, man, the crowd exploded. And it was really cool to see him do the backflip there right in the end zone. And then to go on and catch 2 more and get the hat trick was neat for him. And I'm really glad that he had that moment at home in front of the fans, because I think he's been holding on to that drop against the Vikings since week 1. And I think Rodgers probably said it best in that presser, but that was just the weight of all that coming off him. I think from
defeating
there,
your demons.
He was able to play freer, and they run some nice routes and catch the passes. So I'm thrilled for him, man, and I'm excited to see what he can do going forward.
Yeah, I'm super excited for him. I mean, listen, receivers, quarterbacks, corners, big ego confidence guys, right? Like, if their confidence is not there and they drop a couple balls, they are in their heads. A lot of them, even some of the best. We experienced it heavily with Devontae Adams for 3 years where he had the dropsies. So to see him kind of come out, have a few big drops, get rattled with a few injuries. Right. This was a big one. This was a massive, this wasn't like I caught a pass, finally we're good. It's I caught 3 touchdowns at home against Dallas. It was a massive, it was like, I'm not going to take steps to get my confidence. I'm leaping all the stairs and I'm going right to the top.
This was creating the door and then kicking it down.
Yeah. And he went straight through it like the Kool-Aid man. So that was super cool. And I mean, and listen, I was at the forefront of kind of hating on him, right? I wasn't excited about the draft pick. I felt like small school thing. I wasn't really sold on it. And then obviously the drop, which that basically, cemented my thought process. And then the continued drops and the continued injuries. I've gone on Twitter a couple times saying he ain't it, got blasted for it the first time. And then I said it even on Sunday when he made that first drop. I'm like, see, there it is. He ain't it. He might be it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say he ain't it anymore because I don't think he's not it. I think that there's definitely something there. I would caution though, the fans especially, to not expect that every week, right? Like exactly. That's a big concern of mine going into like even Thursday, right? If C Watts doesn't have 2 touchdowns, maybe even 1, is it all of a sudden he's just not good anymore? It was a fluke. We can't jump to those super conclusions, but to see him do it, I was super excited. The backflip freaked me out considering injury issues. I was like, can't do that, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's the last thing we need.
But it was like, oh God, I could just see it happening. But yeah, to echo my last point, to echo your point, Sanjay, the catches were not pristine. That scares me a little bit. That first one, it was oh gosh, kind of like landed in, and he got really lucky with it. The other ones were not like textbook. Now I know that they're not always going to be textbook. And he caught him, right, and he got to the end zone. Right. We're good with that.
Matter, right?
But it would be nice to see, him kind of to lock that in a little bit as we continue into the season, because I think he's going to be a huge part. He's going to need to be a huge part of this offense if we have any intentions of even sniffing, a wild card situation.
So let's move to the guy that was throwing him the ball, because that's obviously the other biggest story of this game. It was Aaron's ability to trust, Christian Watson, even after a couple early drops, even knowing that your favorite target and Dobbs is gone. You also, don't have a lot of, trust in this offense. Clearly that you were so angry in the Detroit game, but you still were dedicated to the run. But Aaron, though, more specifically, I thought there was a little bit more grit to him this week. I felt like there was this, like, I obviously said in the presser, it was him facing his demons and, him getting out of that hell and knowing that, okay, I am a MVP quarterback. I should be able to make smart decisions and make these dime throws that I know that I've been doing all my career. And I think this was a good game, and it was probably the perfect setting too, right? You have Mike McCarthy coming back. You have the Cowboys, who you totally own anyway. And this was like your get right game, right? Which I was hoping was like 3 weeks ago, but it came on Sunday, and it was the touch passes, it was the ball placement, it was the believing in your scheme, your offense, even though at the very end he didn't believe in the play calling. But it's taken a lot of growth from him, I feel like. Fred, your thoughts on Rodgers and his ability to kind of just let the game come to him? I feel like he was just pushing so much to do this hero ball and think that he needs to do so much, and that, he's just the greatest of all time and nothing has to work, nothing has to, get in his way. But your thoughts this week on Sunday?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that comes back, right? I'm not going to lie.
No, right. Yeah.
I'm not thinking it's gone, but yeah, I think it was his best game, right? And it was ironically the game where he didn't have to do as much as he's had to do in other games, right? It was a game where we ran the ball a lot more. He wasn't asked to throw it as much. I don't think he audibled out into throwing it as much as he should have. So he kind of played the system and played what he should have done, and it was successful. Hopefully he sees that. Obviously there was that one, play call where he freaks out. He yells that, that's being blown out of proportion. Listen, find me a quarterback and coach who don't disagree on play calls. Love to find it. I think that, he's in the heat of the moment, right? You're in battle, right? I mean, you're not going to always listen to people, what they're saying, right? You're in the moment, you're into it. You're not like, oh man, I should pause here and really think of, they just don't have time sometimes. So I thought he did good. We didn't see any garbage balls. We didn't see any dirt balls. We didn't see any, really crazy, terrible throws. He seemed to feel pretty.
He only had like 10 passes to start, right?
Right. So. Yeah. He seemed confident in the pocket. He did the run game. And he picked his spots, right? He picked the moments where the defense showed him something that he knew he could attack, as opposed to trying to attack something he wasn't sure, So it was good. I'm happy to see him do that, and I hope that through all of this, we're going to see some progression. Maybe too little too late, but I think we're on the right path.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this was a big game in terms of the momentum part of it, because normally, and we were kind of all talking off air about, like, when they even discussing the punt return stuff, they get those things that happen to them, and then they kind of go in the shell and go away. And it looked like that was happening. It was 14-14 at half, but before the Rodgers fumble, they were much more in command, but then they were down 28-14. I think they had a moment there that it felt like, hey, we can go one of two ways here. One, either the season's over. We're done. We're folding our tents and we're going home. Or two, we're going to put our foot down and we're going to try to go for this. And I thought Rodgers stayed calm. He didn't press. It's interesting that the one time we don't see McCarthy balls when McCarthy's in the building. I thought maybe we would see an ode to Big Mike there throwing heaving balls down the field, but we didn't see it. And thankfully we didn't. So I felt like he's stuck to the script. He bought into what maybe the greater vision was and didn't influence as much. Although I think we needed full Rodgers control on that end of regulation segment. It sounded like that was a total disaster. And glad it didn't end up in a loss, because if had we lost the game, that scenario would be on repeat here in town and on sports radio. But that's going to go glossed over because they end up winning. But to put a bow on it, excited that Rodgers, looked the way he looked, ran the offense well. And it has to give you some kind of encouragement going forward. Whether they can do it again next week, I don't know, or I should say in 2 days, we'll see. But, at least to see it against a good team, when your backs are against the wall, they dug deep, they found a way to do it, and Rodgers was a huge part of that.
Yeah, there's a couple other things that I think offensively that we got to point out that are good and concerns. I would say, one, the offensive line I thought looked good. Right, for the first time, this
Parsons didn't do anything
against arguably the best front seven in the game, at least what I think of as one of the best front sevens. And Michael Parsons, somebody that most people tout as the best player in NFL right now.
Terrified of him coming to that game.
Yeah, I mean, I expected 3-4 sacks. I think I'm pretty sure Sanjay bet. You bet over, so you lost for sure on one of them. And then you also lost.
I think we took everything.
You lost twice.
Cowboys.
Yeah, you lost twice, so you owe me some money, which my Venmo. But so that was a huge plus, a huge thought that I was excited about, because I've been kind of waiting for that offensive line to kind of get some gel, and that was pretty crucial. And I think, as David points out, third week, the same starting offensive line. That's huge. People don't understand how big of a deal
continuity,
that is.
Man.
So that's huge. And then I also wanted to kind of point out in a negative spot, and we talked a little bit about this, Sanjay. The misuse of Bobby touchdowns. And I know I love Bobby touchdowns, and I'm always going to come on here and kind of rant and rave about Bobby touchdowns.
Shit, bro.
The fact that they use him in such a wonky way, man, I don't get it. He like when he gets the ball, right? He always gets the ball. It seems like behind the line of scrimmage or like 2 yards out, and he tries to make a cut and a move. And every time I see him do it, I think I'm like, it's like me, right? Like I would go out there and try to play football against my kids, and I'm thinking I'm like just juking like a madman, and I'm literally moving half an inch, and I'm lower than molasses in the winter. Like there's nothing like, I think he feels like he's fast, and he's not fast at all. Right. And I think it's a huge issue. And I think he's more of like, let's bring him up the seam, right? Why are we not running him up the seam? Why are we not getting him balls in stride? Why are we getting balls to him when he's stationary and then expected to like make a move? Dude ain't making a move. Well, so that's one of my biggest like call outs on the offense is, if we want to keep this up and we want to keep progressing, man, I need to see him in a more productive role, in more of a fast paced role, if you will.
And here to answer this, do we believe? It's like they got to come out and do it again. Like you got to come out and beat the Titans. If they lose against the Titans, this game doesn't matter. There's a nice win and a good memory, and that's all it's going to be. But if they don't, they got to come out and do this again on a short week, albeit Tennessee is going to be subjected to that too. But again, they got to put something together. And I think they found something. It feels like a page was turned against Dallas, because they didn't just lay down and die when they went down by 14. They came back, and I think they've been waiting for that to happen through all these games they've been dropping recently to find that one moment. Unfortunately, it took them 5 straight losses to do it, but they got to it. So hopefully it's a turning point, and we're talking differently next week.
I want to say, let's give a big shout out to Aaron Jones.
Yes.
I'm glad that that Matt LaFleur figured out that just keep giving him the ball. I don't know why it takes 3 goons on a podcast and everybody else's podcast that they notice that you can't get this guy the ball. Like, I just don't understand why this is such an issue. And you see what it does. And I don't understand why Rodgers says, "Oh, we should be giving him the ball more," but then he makes comments like, "Oh, well, I shouldn't be the leading rusher." Well, then, is it a LaFleur thing? Is it Rodgers changing it? But then you get mad at LaFleur for not running the ball on that third down. Well, I mean, it's always this weird back and forth about how do we use this guy? Just use him, because look at what it's doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still want to see more screens from him. I want to see more passes to the guy. I think just look at everything that Christian McCaffrey's ever done in his career and just do that at practice. Just try it. You know,
look at Aaron. I've said this on this podcast so many times it make my head's blue. How many times, or what is Aaron Rodgers' best games? Look at it statistically. It's against the Kansas City Chiefs and it's against the Dallas Cowboys when he had not only multiple carries, but he had 8+ receptions for over 100 yards. I mean, he is so
just
dynamic.
Look at those tapes.
Yeah. Look at even just this year and then last year, especially. Remember, like the couple of those wheel routes, right? He just kind of bends it around, and all of a sudden he's getting a bomb down the corner. We saw, this year Aaron didn't hit him a couple times, but those are huge moments where they need to use him in a better situation. The other thing I was going to point out with Aaron Jones is, man, what a difference it makes when you're at 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2, every single, like, oh my gosh, like that is, go for it. I mean, it's just absolutely insane when you're not looking at 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 12s every single time.
Yeah, I remember thinking about that during the game. Like, man, this is refreshing seeing some 2nd and 5s, some 3rd and 2s. It really opens up the playbook. But when you're constantly striking out on 1st down and it's 2nd and 10 or 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 10, whatever it is, man, it makes it really hard to convert those 1st downs, particularly when you're a little bit short on, receiving experience or your playmaker experience. So I think that's a really good point, Fred, that's something they got to glom onto, because I think that, I know it goes without saying, but that's a huge piece of this team's success, because it's been well stated by, even QB1 was that they don't have a large margin of error. They have to be on their shit the whole game. And I think that that's such a crucial piece to their offensive productivity. They don't have the guys to go, well, we can just overcome 3rd and 10 all the time. They don't. And that was kind of a reason why they went on that 5-game skid. They couldn't get, they couldn't stay in the field. So I think that's a good call out there.
Yeah. And I think an interesting point too, and let's just move on to the defense real quick, because obviously they held up their bargain a little bit too. I know they did give up 30 points in the end, 28, but Rudy Ford, I mean, have a game, kid. Like this is obviously shocking, but it was awesome that someone was willing to step up. We haven't seen Savage do it, and it's interesting that this guy that's been, cut by a bunch of teams and figures it out on practice squad comes and makes some plays. Now, obviously, there was some, miscommunication by receivers and stuff, but in the end, you got to make the plays, right? And you got to have the vision. And exactly, you got to be a ball hawk and find it. So, and he did, and that's awesome. And I hope this is, like Fred, I remember you messaging, maybe he's the Rasul Douglas this year, and that would be awesome. Baby. Maybe he could, and that would be awesome. Someone needs to step up. You've lost so many key contributors in Gary, in Stokes, in Campbell, and somehow this defense was able to, muster up, a defensive game enough to hold them back, so that your offense could somehow, win the game, right? So.
And I think Dallas is good, right? Dallas is a good offensive team. I don't think that they're like a slouchy offensive team. So I feel pretty confident in what they were able to do, all things considered. I mean, you look at the same scenario and you put in Gary, you put in Campbell. I mean, we're probably holding them to 17 or 18 points, like that's, to me, maybe that's, advantageous, but I just feel like that's it. It kind of sucks because, now you're seeing the progression. You're starting to see maybe there's an opportunity where we start figuring things out. And Gary's not going to be there, right? I'll probably rest my head on that for the rest of the year. I think that's an absolute game changer. And there will be games where we're gonna see that loss hurt more than anything. Same with Devondre Campbell. Stokes not as much. I do like the idea of Savage kind of coming down and playing a nickel type situation. I think there's some opportunity to move some people around in the secondary, but no Gary's gonna hurt this defense in the long run. We didn't see it as much as Dallas, a little bit, but there's going to be a couple games that we're going to be like, dang, we have no pass rush. And
I am wondering when that's going to, and maybe it might be Thursday, but maybe Enagarbe, God, I can't even say his name right, but what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I mean, maybe this is his moment, right? Next man up, stand up and try to make a name for yourself at this point. I mean, in the event, I mean, I'm not even worried about the sacks, but if you can just create pressure and make
that's the
quarterbacks,
thing.
Like that is enough.
It's good. It was encouraging to see good situational football. Like for instance, like the Cowboys were about to go up 14-0, and if Rudy Ford doesn't step in front of that pass,
right.
I mean, there's no telling how the rest of the game unfolds. I mean, that really did flip the game over and allowed the Packers to kind of seize that momentum and come back. He did it again, later in the second quarter. But, defensively, it felt like more of the kind of game you expect from them. It was good situational football. They played some complementary football. They got the offense, the ball back. They got abused a little bit there by CeeDee Lamb. They did give up a lot of rushing yards. But in terms of, they got some timely stops. They got the big stop on fourth down, there in overtime, where it felt like the Cowboys were about to or a first down or two away from maybe putting that one away and getting a score. My biggest complaint is going to be, though, the end of half defense, which seems to be a massive problem for them, where they just all of a sudden, give up a real easy score. And it's like, I think back to some of those, I don't know, maybe the Giants game or a few games where like the defense played pretty good in the first half, but then all of a sudden they do that lazy prevent defense, and the team just goes right down the field. And I thought that was such, a disservice to how they played the rest of that first half, to let them just go right down the field and grab the momentum back and tie the game up at halftime. It's like, I don't know what you guys got to do, but I'd rather live and die playing the way I played defense the whole half than just give up all these 10-yard passes constantly. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, do you think there's a point where they go rogue against Barry?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, what point do they go to hell with this? No,
not like crazy rogue, but like where they get into like a third down, or they're like, no, dude, I'm not gonna, like, Jair's just gonna go line up over somebody if he's not, in the right, if he's not, supposed to in the scheme or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't think of what the words here, but is there a point where they're just like, listen, like, no, we're gonna run what we think.
No,
and not like in a childish stupidity manner, but like just little things, like, hey, you know what, we're gonna run this defense, but we're gonna, like, Jair, we're just gonna put you on this side instead, like stupid stuff like that.
I see what you're trying to say, and I think there could be some element to that. I mean, especially if it's just like an individual thing, like Jair's like, no, I'm going to get on this guy because he's probably going to beat, because like I've seen this every time we do actually play defense. How many times have we actually given up a deep bomb? Tell me. I mean probably like twice.
Not that much.
I mean, but you have the occasional
death by 1,000 cuts.
The Jefferson game, and then like what?
Yeah, but that was still like, he just was one. He found the pockets in the zone, which, I mean,
right?
Kid could do.
That was just bad scheme.
He's the best receiver in the game. So, I mean, it's a little different. But yeah, like, I think we're like Diggs and him, really.
Right, but that's like the last time we've seen a deep bomb, right? Like that's the last time we've seen us actually get truly get beaten.
It's a lot of over under, like in the middles. Like it's a lot of basic stuff.
I just don't understand on coaching, and maybe this is, and again, I'm not a coach, but like offensively and defensively, like they just don't like it. I think they trust their guys, but they also just don't trust their guys. Like, why are we not going for? Yeah, like why don't we take more shots downfield? Like, why don't you trust Christian Watson? Why don't you trust Allen Lazard? Defensively, why don't you trust your guys to be right up in their face? Like, I just don't get it as a fan. And
I'm with you, Sanjay. I would much rather, if they're getting dunked on left and right and we're giving up bombs all the time. Okay, fine, do it. But you're not. I don't understand why you're just reverting to that just because. Well, that's what the call sheet says for. Like, read the room, man. Like, your defense is suffocating him. Let it ride. And if you give up a bomb, well, chalk it up to that happens. But like until it happens, call it the same way you've been.
Well, real talk,
I would be a little bit more aggressive, right?
Yeah,
and if it bites you in the ass, that's fine. You're gonna still get #FireBarry every single week because like it's not gonna change. Like we're not gonna all of a sudden be like, oh, now we should fire Barry. Like, no, we've been saying that pretty much weekly. I'm pretty sure that like it's not gonna change. At least if you're gonna go out hell blazing, man. Like, play some wild exotic stuff. They did have some pretty interesting blitzes this week, but
they did.
I mean, I would just like, if I was Barry, I mean, I sure as heck
is he fired?
Like, I'm gonna lose.
I'm gonna lose at the end of the season.
I think he probably would be, but I would say if I'm him, like I'm not gonna get fired because my team didn't run a good cover 3, zone. Like I want to get fired because I took too many chances and I maybe, like big deal, like go for it.
It's just a shame, man. Like you had this you had this defense at the prime. Like, you had all of them healthy. You had a defensive player of the year candidate. You had, a rising rookie, in his second year, and you just use these guys like idiots. And you didn't really maximize their opportunities. 2 of them get hurt in a serious way. And then now you lost your middle linebacker. And now you've got guys that just don't even trust your scheme.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, LaFleur, if he has any sense, right? Like, postseason, right? They do their exit interviews, things like that. It wouldn't shock me if a lot of those guys in that defensive squad were like, listen, I don't want to play with Barry. I don't want to, right? Like, they're going to say it. They're not going to be like, sure, we'll just run it back next year. Like, they're not. They're young. They're aggressive. They're spunky. We played, 3 years ago when we were playing with, a little bit more spice and fire with some of our better stuff, right? And we got beat a few times, but the squad wasn't what we're at now. I'd like to take that fire and put it on this squad and see what happens.
But this is exactly the problem about being a Packers fan. It's one or the other. It's either we don't have the players or we don't have the right coaches, or it's like it never just can come together and have this beautiful aha moment, and then we figure it out.
The crappy part, the crappy part with the defensive thing is that they went and hired somebody out and he sucks. So now we're going to probably go back to no, we're going to just promote from within. It's going to be, the special teams. Don't
underestimate this team too. They've also been notoriously known for holding on to coaches too long. I mean, most notably Maurice Drayton last year. It's like, how long did they need to hang on to that guy before they got the message?
For 42 years.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like I could also see Barry coming back and whoa, we learned from our mistakes, whatever,
But it's just
Joe Barry didn't get a fair chance because Gary was out. Well, he sucked for 7 years, man.
Yeah.
Well,
or 7 weeks. Sorry, not years.
I do feel like a little bit of it too is just I get it. Winning in this league is tough, and sometimes you have to have a little bit of luck go your way. But what happened this year? I think we're gonna always ask ourselves that in January. Like, where did it go wrong? Was it attitudes? Was it egos? Was it play calling? Was it coaching? Was it preparedness? We'll ask that in about 7 or 8 weeks. Hell, it might be in 3 weeks when our season is officially over. But I think that will be
we're gonna probably have to have a 2-hour premiere for that because there's a lot of things I think that went wrong. I don't
part one, part two.
Part one, part two.
I don't think it's I don't think it's a 1 or 2 things and we're done. I think there was a lot going on internally, roster, coaching, all sorts of stuff that I think just was never maybe hashed out or was never really was hidden behind the success that we had been having. And it was an inevitable ticking time bomb and things started to get a little weird. And I think we were due for this kind of a year, right? We couldn't have possibly gone for 13-3 seasons, 14-3, whatever. I felt like our run was going to have to stop at some point. Now, me saying that, I don't think that this team is a team that can't win at all. I 100% think that this team playing their offense with that defense, obviously, I'm talking about next year. This year, it's not going to happen. I would be shocked. But I mean, the personnel we have, I think we could do it. But obviously, that's another huge if because we don't know how many people are going to get retained. All things considered.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be
true.
Oh, hopefully,
you're gonna say no to that guy? Look at the picture. I ain't saying no to that guy.
Well, right,
6'5", 320, dude.
I do also think too, whoever's their quarterback will be the deciding factor.
That's the big thing,
But
we'll find out in a couple weeks.
Well, we all said last week. I think we took a vote. It said if you had to go, what do you think? I think we all said he'll be back, right? Or did someone say he's going to be gone?
I have more. I thought, and I still think, he'll probably. Gosh, I don't know, man. I still think he'll probably be gone, but I mean, we still have the rest. Like, if we end up going whatever, how many games we have left? 8, 7.
Yeah.
So if we end up going 5-2 or 6-2 or 5-3 or I could see they're a little bit of a momentum push going into next year, right? Like now,
particularly
if we were to go like 2-6 the rest of the season, it would be really hard for me to understand like him being like, oh, I'm hyped to come back. Like, I don't know. I just think they'd have to almost do a little bit of a internal, like, we got to figure something out here.
All I know is this offseason is going to be dynamite. Yeah,
Yep.
it's gonna be crazy. So this season being whatever it is might be the calm of the whole thing. Who knew that?
The weird thing is like, how do we? Yeah, that's true. How do we retain?
Great point.
Free agent.
I mean, is this the season's obviously not over, but like we're like almost calling it over based on like how the stars have to perfectly align in this conference.
That's the part, man. It's like
we could
if
go
it was like, okay, just gotta
now.
just go win out. Like even if we go 6-2, like let's just go play our best ball. But like even if we do that, it's still like we gotta have like a Arizona Cardinals touchdown in the corner of the end zone. Who was that? What was that guy's name again?
Oh man,
Nate Poole.
Nate Poole.
Yeah,
was it Nate Poole? Yeah. And then there was also the Yancey Thigpen, Steelers. Like one of we're gonna need something like that where like a couple other teams start to implode a little bit, have some crazy losses.
Well, look at the teams you gotta probably compete with, right? We were talking about before the show. The Commanders unfortunately lost head to head with them. How confident are we going to be that they're going to be there in the end? They might be. The Giants, are they going to stay 7-2? Are they going to go down and they have a loss against them? Dallas, that win is huge. I mean, they gotta think about that. Probably realistically that 8 seed, maybe the 7 seed, but I feel like with the Giants and the Cowboys being
how many seeds are there? I thought there were only 7.
I mean 7. I'm sorry, 7.
Oh,
so you gotta
whoa, we have a chance then.
Yeah. So
you not NBA.
I'll take the.
You really have to.
Right?
Yeah, you really have to think about those teams ahead of you. But the worst thing they can do is try to worry about all these other teams. None of it matters unless you're winning your own damn game. So focus on that.
Absolutely, and that's. But it. You know what? In a little bit of a weird kind of maybe I got some problems. No, just listen. No, I'm gonna say because you're gonna think the same thing, you jerk. In a weird little bit of way, right? It's been a while since we've had a little bit of a we're gonna make it, we're not gonna make it. Like it's gonna be kind of interesting.
Good for the soul.
It is good for the soul. I think it takes and I'm okay, right? I'm at a point where like if we don't I already kind of wrote us off that we weren't gonna make the playoffs like 2 weeks ago. So I'm not really like I'm not that I'm not like if we don't make it, I'm gonna be just devastated because I'm kind of already assuming again, like we just talked about, there's so many things that we're gonna need to do. But it kind of makes it fun, right? Like I'm gonna start really paying attention to a couple other games, couple other teams. Of a few of those teams you mentioned, right? Like the Giants, that's a weird one, right? They seem to be good, but it's still Danny Dimes. There's like you can't imagine that's gonna last forever. The Commanders, give me a freaking break. Like it's Tyler Heineke. They got a psychotic owner. There's a lot of issues going on there.
Seahawks,
there's nothing there. Seahawks, no way. I think we saw this last week their last game. Gino had to be Gino. They didn't run the ball good, and he absolutely folded. So you've seen the blueprint to make them lose there. Dallas is really the better team in that situation, and they've obviously got issues. How does Philly respond to a loss?
Yeah,
that's a team that could honestly just start. Like I think they're super talented, but they could struggle a couple games. Like there are a lot of things that could make sense. I'm not trying to make a magical mystery tour here, but I do think there's an opportunity, and I'm kind of excited to watch it go down.
There's a path. There's definitely a path there. They need some help along the way in the path, but the point is they do not have much room for error, which is the theme of the season. You really gotta hit your marks. You gotta hit your marks.
Here's me and you, right? We're like magic carpet riding around town.
Yeah.
And Sanjay's just sitting up there like, shut, this is not going on. These freaking guys.
If I'm
positivity.
If I'm being honest, it's in my head. It's always been 7 losses. I've buried them like you've done, Fred, multiple times this year. But in my head, it's always been if you get to 7 losses, I just don't think even if you go on a run, you can't make it at that point. So they got 1 to go.
Outside of like our actual predictions, whatever that we made in the beginning of the season. I mean, I know I said on the show a few times, like I talked a lot about, hey, we can lose games. We should lose games. That's going to be important for us. Now, I didn't.
Not this many.
No. I did not think this. Well, I thought this many, but I didn't think in a row, right? Like, I was thinking,
exactly.
hey, if we lose 5 to 7 games, I'm not worried about losing 7 games in a season. Now, 5 of them
5
being
in a row
that was a massive kicker. But that being said, like, I 100% expected us to be in that like 5 to 7 losses, and I kind of was hoping we would be, so that we would actually like, maybe gel and learn from it, and like not go into, because that's my biggest problem the last 3 years. We went into the playoffs we were burnt out. We were too busy trying to run that 13 record. We were trying to, go undefeated, blah, blah, blah. Things like that. And I just felt like that was too much. So we're still on the track, right? We could still up with 7 losses.
It's good for the fan base, dude. I think it's a good call out. Like, I think we all needed a slice of humble pie. It's just like expected that we're going to go to the playoffs and just win the division and be 12-game winners. This
was playing with fire, though. Like
well, it was definitely a little too extreme. I agree. They could have toned it down a little bit, but
you could have at least won one of these games in the middle.
Maybe a 3-game losing streak, not 5.
Okay, so yeah, if we would have let's say we beat the Commanders, right? Or no, because that would have been 2 back-to-back. Let's say we beat the Jets.
Yeah.
Right. What's the tone here? Are we completely different? Because now we lost a game, we won a game, we lost a game, we beat the Cowboys. Are we at like a point where we're like, hey, we're just kind of I
think we're still pissed, but maybe like not as like dejected. Like we're like, yeah, this is not good, but we're kind of in it still. You know what I mean? If they beat the Commanders and the Lions, like we really thought they were going to, and now I don't know what the record would be, but I think it's a completely different show, 100%. Feel, everything different.
Now, if we go into or if not, we don't go into Tennessee. If Tennessee comes into our home, for a whiteout, right? And
sounds like it.
We put a little bit of a hurting on them, right? Let's say we put up like 30 some points, they score 15 to 20. Are we coming back here next week thinking, here we go, boys? I mean, where are you at?
I think I said it. If they can win this game against Tennessee, then I'm like, okay. I can smell the cooking in the kitchen. I see what's going on here.
Yeah, no,
and if they do it against the Eagles, then you better believe I'm going 100% head first in.
Tattoos and everything. How silly though that like we lose to the Commanders, we lose to the Lions, we lose to the Jets, we lose to the Giants, we win one game, and here we are like we're fucking back.
We're 1 week, Fred, 1 week post like us picking against the Packers, and here we are going, hey man, I think there might be something here.
I ain't picking against them the rest of the season.
Full tilt.
I said
Eagles by 40.
They need to start winning games for me to stop picking them to lose. So
nobody cares what you think, because you pick them to lose. You pick them to lose when we're like a 14-3 team, dude.
I pick us because it's the teams that we lose to, and I'm right usually. So
he's the funniest guy in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Realistic Sanjay comes out. Titans come into town Thursday night. It is a whiteout. It is short week. They have a lot of injuries too, especially on defense. So I don't know how Russell the Muscle didn't beat them, but they suck.
Taylor Lewan,
right? And it's a game like we have already mentioned. Not every game now is do or die. So they know that hopefully, and this is a little comeback game for Matt LaFleur, a little revenge game. This is first time
we've had it here before. They came up here 2 years ago in the pandemic year, and we put a walloping on. Remember, we're all shitting our pants about Derrick Henry, and you end up doing nothing.
You're right. That was the A.J. Dillon game. That was goes off. Yeah. So maybe we can do that again. Recreate something like that. Maybe with Aaron Jones.
It's gonna be cold, right? We're gonna be real cold under the lights at Lambeau. Coming off a win, I think the environment will be pretty hot. I think this could be a replay of that. Like maybe you get Thunder Thighs to get moving and grooving a little bit, right? He hasn't been great all year.
He hasn't, dude.
No,
he has not been great all year.
No,
he's not. Okay. I've not plugged him at all, but like this is the time of the year I think where he can start to maybe do something a little bit. He seems to be better in that game. I don't know. I'm just thinking, maybe that's an opportunity for him to, kind of have himself a little game. I think it's going to have to be something like that, but.
I'm just saying, like, we just were begging for them to use Aaron Jones, and now we're like, this is the time for A.J. Dillon. Like,
no, please don't. No, I'm talking like, I'm still talking like 80-20. Like, let's go Aaron Jones on this, because I think that's where we can beat this team, because they're used to having to go against a big old bruising guy. Like, let's get him on some speed. Let's get him on some outside. Again, I think you can see I'd like to see Samori Toure kind of get in there and run a couple couple clear outs. I was 2 seconds away from tweeting about Lazard, and then he had that great play. So that was like ironic because he was nowhere to be found the entire game except for pretty much that one play. So take the hat off. Take the hat off right now.
I can't. I got a head now. I can't do it.
Man. So yeah, I think there's some interesting things there. I guess I started kind of going into it. You guys want to talk about it and then throw your predictions out?
Well, just in terms of who's out, the injury report came out today. Did not participate was like D-Bach, Devondre Campbell, obviously, Romeo Dobbs, the guys that you'd think. But then I think Elton Jenkins was out. I think a lot of these guys are probably just like because
they're all forever banged up.
Short week. They're gonna let most of the guys sit going into Thursday.
But this game, I think the Titans, offensively ranked really low. I forget the ranking is, despite the fact that Derrick Henry's, out there killing it. That's kind of their one thing. Like I'm not afraid of Robert Woods and Treylon Burks and whoever the hell else is playing receiver. Nor am I really concerned with Ryan Tannehill. I think that where the game again is going to be, we're just talking about running backs, guys. It's like duplicate what you did against the Cowboys. I think that the Titans are probably going to counter, expecting us to do more of the same. So they got to have a plan B or something to mix it up a little bit to throw them off their game to get it going. I don't know if Randall Cobb comes back and play and you can add that wrinkle back in. I mean, it's amazing that we're like, oh, hey, Randall Cobb's coming back and it's a big boost to the offense.
It really is, though.
But it is. I mean, it legitimately is.
At this point, we'll take anybody back.
But Tony Pollard, we didn't really talk about it when we were talking about the last game, but he ran all over us. I mean, and so you got to think that we're going to see a heavy dose of Derrick Henry. So how are you going to stop it?
Situation, though, honestly, like I think because he's a bigger back and he's not as elusive. I mean, if the guys up front can get at least his legs and start him. Obviously, yes, if he gets a big gaping hole, fuck us. We're going to get ran over. But, if we can get to him immediately, I've seen the bad Derrick Henry where he just goes down, on a shoelace tackle. And it's like, okay, let's, have fun. But if you have Ja tackling him because he's already in the backfield, we're done.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
It ain't good.
The Titans are going to want to get into a ground and pound, low scoring kind of game. I know it's asking a lot, but if the Packers can get that off that passing game going like they did against the Cowboys and put pressure on Tennessee to have to score more, I think that's just going to, aid the whole thing.
Yeah, I think Tennessee, they have a lot of injuries, like you kind of discussed. I think Jeffrey Simmons, their big nose tackle, D tackle, he's out. That's a big one. He's a machine. I think Bud Dupree had a little bit of
and they were out for Sunday. I don't know if they'll be out for Thursday, but it's probably
right. But it's quick. I know Tannehill's dealing with an ankle thing. I think he's still playing. I mean, he should be fine, but that's just things to kind of note. But that could be huge, right? That could be big for how we want to attack their defense. Because I don't really think offensive, there's not really anybody that scares me outside of Derrick Henry. So I think if we're able to kind of play the right defense against that, we should be good. Like I said, like you said, Matt, I fear that run game because we just, for how many years now, it just feels like we cannot quite figure it out. But hopefully we put in some big bodies and we just kind of eat.
Hey, we've been shit talking this guy, but maybe we shouldn't anymore. Devontae Wyatt seems to be making a little bit more of a presence felt. Now I was at the game, so I agree, but I think you need to start putting him in the game more and start getting Dean Lowry less on the field.
I know.
I saw Wyatt in there.
The one time I saw him, he was on the ground. Is he hurt though?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a perfect example. If you put Kenny Clark, you put Devontae Wyatt, you put Jaron Reed, and you just body those guys.
Offseason signing is I'm really liking Jaron. I mean, he almost had that safety.
But you put this would be a good opportunity to so you line them up, right? You have a little bit of a thinness at linebacker just because of Devontae Campbell. So that's where maybe you bring in Rudy Ford, bring him up in the box. Maybe that's where you get Jonathan Abrams in the game and start bringing him down in the box. He's a heavy hitter. Put some guys in there that can kind of stop that. Yep, go.
Speaking of, did he have 2 penalties on him?
Who?
Did I hear that? Yeah.
Did who?
Because he suited up, didn't he?
Who are we talking about?
Jonathan Abrams. We picked him up. I heard that he came in and had 2 penalties. I couldn't tell. I didn't know.
I didn't think he dressed.
I don't feel like I even saw him. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, he's wearing 44. He was dressed up.
Oh, was he? Well, he did. I mean, he clearly didn't make a huge impact in the sense of like, I figured they probably weren't going to give him a lot.
I didn't even expect him to be suiting up, so I'm actually impressed with that. So it makes me feel
confident. 2 penalties?
It feels like
I think he had defense, especially his penalties.
But here's the thing with him though, like, so he's an interesting person or an interesting character just because I think he's got, he's a hard hitter, but he also doesn't read the plays always the best. So he's got a lot of his issues. But yeah, you put him in the run game.
Sorry, Big B.
You set a tone, right? He's kind of an old school like Ronnie Lott type dude. Like, have him go in there, get a penalty, like knock somebody's ass out, and let them know, hey, we're here to, like, we need tough guys on our defense. I don't think our defense is tough. And if you got to put a little bit of a thuggish, ruggish dude in there, do it. I think
ruggish, I like it.
Well, better than Kirk Thuggins. I think you got to do it.
Oh my
God. Which, by the way, that was the most bizarre game. We're not going to talk about it, but anyone who watched that Buffalo Minnesota game, what a trip, man.
I was watching it with Vikings fans at a sports book, and the amount of these idiots actually go like it with their mouth.
I noticed that you're. Well,
that's worse than me doing a Transformer.
Two things. One, I noticed that your Cowboys buddy is not in the chat tonight.
Yeah, where's Mike?
He's not coming around here.
And then two, you shouldn't be surprised. You Vikings fans do a lot of things with their mouth. So
it's a busy show. It's a family friend.
All right.
Hey, let's get our predictions here and let's get the heck out of here. Matthew Ryan, what is your prediction?
Hey man, I think the Packers are going to ride the wave here. Both teams really dealing with injuries, both on a short week. At least the Packers get to be at home and sleep in their own beds Wednesday nights.
He's feeling
so I just think that they unlocked something. I think that they found out that side of them that they needed to find the last 5 weeks and couldn't. I don't know. I want to make a statement, but I'm not gonna go too wild yet. So I think the Packers do win this game. I'm gonna say 27-20.
Oh, this doesn't deserve that.
Sorry.
I had a
Sorry,
video.
I know you wanted me to put a 40, but I gotta see.
I wasn't gonna put the 40 burger on. I just got a really good video for when we predict a win. So maybe if Murthy picks a win, I'll throw this video up.
Okay,
you're up.
Do it better than me.
Why don't you do it? Why don't you make the prediction? Throw it up for yourself.
All right, I'm gonna make the prediction. All right, I think we
I don't know if I'm reading your mind correctly, so I probably won't say it.
I do think we absolutely ride the wave. I don't know if it's a biggest wave that we maybe need or it's too late or whatever. But I think the offense is kind of finding the rhythm. I think we're seeing that the running game is important. Christian Watson kind of opens things up, even if he doesn't have 3 catches for 3 touchdowns. At least now there's teams that have to play us a little honest. Randy Cobb comes back. He makes some plays. Samari Toure, I think, I hope Bobby touchdowns can get figured out, but we're probably not going to see that. That being said, I just think Tennessee's got a lot of issues, and I don't think that offensively they're that good. They're so one-dimensional, and I think we're kind of becoming two-dimensional here, which is a rarity in the Packer world. So I'm going to say we continue to score points, and we're going to go to 34-20. Green Bay Packers win.
34-20.
Why couldn't you do this with his prediction?
It wasn't good enough. It wasn't explosive enough.
He only was winning by 7 points, man.
Okay. So it had to be.
Was he using a 40 top as a turntable?
I think it was like a sparkling water.
I think it's just a cap on a bottle. Yeah,
it's literally the greatest videos. I found it on Twitter and I was like, "This is great. I'm stealing it." And I hope the guy doesn't get mad.
Sanjay, what do you got?
Yeah. I mean, this is an interesting game because I don't know.
You want that video, don't you? Come on, you want that video, baby?
I don't know who to trust here. Is it Rodgers trying to figure out, hey, I should use my players and trust the scheme, or is it LaFleur understanding that, hey, I have some superstar talent in the backfield, I should use it, or is this defense really just got lucky that Dak Prescott sucks? So I don't. I don't know what to believe with this game, but I don't believe in the Titans. So I have the Packers winning this game.
Sorry.
I know you're fine. I did say that I needed them to win a game before I would pick them to win again. And hey, lo and behold, they finally won.
Whoa.
That's coming from inside your own house, Fred. Inside your own house.
Like literally right above you. Like
you're going to you need to go deal with that. You need to
Someone's sleeping outside tonight. Probably me.
Hit the couch, buddy.
I have us winning. It's been a long time since I've even given us 20 points. So I will say
go big, baby.
28-10. I don't I don't believe in the Titans, but at the same time, I'm kind of horrified that our defense actually is gonna like show up and it's gonna suck. But I'm hoping not. I'm hoping maybe this is like they can figure it out with all the injuries. But yeah,
Thursday night, the snows in Wisconsin. I think the people are gonna be hyped. I mean, I kind of believe that they're gonna like it's kind of a weird blessing, right? That we are so quickly removed from a win, right? Because we're gonna still be feeling it.
Moving right out.
If we were playing like Monday night or like Sunday night, I'd be like, oh, it might fizzle by that point. So I believe in them. I tell you who I don't believe in, that person. I'm a little concerned with
troubling to say the least,
because that is a problem.
I'll take that 17-3. I'll take that.
I like that.
Take a dub.
Hey,
just give me a dub.
Thank you so much for joining us again on a nice Tuesday evening. I hope you guys enjoy the short week because you guys have football on Thursday. As much as we don't enjoy Thursday night football, it's us, so you can enjoy it. Titans,
Your
Packers,
prime accounts now.
It's a whiteout, so if you're going to the game, enjoy it. I know it's a Milwaukee game, so
I'll be there.
Who are Milwaukee fans? But I'm just kidding. They've been better. Enjoy the game, guys. Enjoy the game. We'll obviously text. Thank you so much for showing your support to us. We hope that you guys enjoy every hour that you're with us every week. But we'll be back here doing it again next Tuesday at 6 p.m. So come join us. But with that being said,
it feels good. Say it with some passion.
It feels good to win, baby. It's back to win. Victory Tuesdays. That's Matt. That's Fred. I'm Sanjay. Thank you so much. Hey, and like always, go. Pack. Go.